Man, I've been waiting all night now. That's how long I've been on ya. I need you right now. Right now. I need you right now. Right now.
Why did you do this to us? Was it because of the money? The fame? You didn't care about the community. You didn't care about Half-Life. All you wanted was to get into Activision. Hunt Down the Freeman is a spin-off game based on Half-Life 2 and serves as a sort of a sequel, a narrative sequel to Opposing Force. It was released on February 24th, 2018, and it was the brainchild of one Birkin Denizyaran. I'll preface this video by saying all that I say in this video is directly aimed at him. I don't mean to criticize all the other people who poured out their hearts into this project and in return received harsh criticism from the internet or didn't even get paid by Birkin. Talking about Hunt Down the Freeman at this point is like beating a dead horse, or rather beating a dead horse's grave. But I want to do a little retrospective, or rather a retrospective. Just talk about the game, share my feelings about it, and, the usual stuff. So in this video, we'll be going through the whole game and talk about each of the levels and what they did wrong. Along with the tutorial and the prologue, there are 3 acts and an epilogue. There are multiple chapters or levels in between these acts, and we'll be going through each of them. The training level is very reminiscent of the Opposing Force training level, maybe even a 1-to-1 copy of it, but only the starting area. The rest of it is, well, different. Throughout this whole game, you'll notice that the voice acting is either very good, average, or not good. The drill sergeant's voice acting is average at best.
You! What's your name, scumbag? Wait, don't say it. I will call you Dirtbag.
The 3D models of the soldiers and the drill sergeant seem higher quality than what we're used to in normal source games or mods. And looking into it, they mostly bought these 3D models from asset stores or online websites and ported them into the source engine. I know there's been talks of stealing assets, but I didn't find any concrete evidence of any stealing, mostly buying assets from stores, which is just lazy. And there's this inconsistency with the quality of the models because later on you'll see that both these higher quality 3D models and the lower quality Half-Life models are mixed in together in some areas, which seem like a very odd combination. Also, the soldiers are missing pupils for some reason, and this lack of quality control is felt throughout the game, which makes you think Mr. Birkin definitely rushed this game out without doing any QA or QC. Next up is one of the most bizarre additions I've seen in this game. First, they make you prone, which is weird in a Half-Life type game, and then there's parkour, which I just don't understand. I mean, it could work, but the way this game implements it is just bad. It doesn't work half the time, and there's not many occasions where you actually have to use it. So why add in a gameplay element that you're barely gonna use in your maps? And that prone function? You only prone in this game 2 to 3 times as far as I can remember. But one of the few saving graces in this game are the weapon models actually. These weapon models look amazing and their animations are very fluid, very nice actually. I don't think any of them are taken from anywhere. That's why all of them look consistent in their designs. Maybe some of them are lifted from Left 4 Dead, but again, I can't say for sure because I don't have the proper evidence to back that up. The only negative about the gunplay is the recoil on the automatic weapons, which is kind of all over the place. And there's also ADS, aim down sights. I don't mind it, but it feels out of place in a game like this. Next up are the night goggles and the inventory system as a whole. So the night goggles work fine, but the inventory system again feels off. Like, here's the thing. If you're making a Half-Life spin-off and a narrative sequel to Opposing Force, wouldn't you keep it as close to the source material as possible? Why would you deviate the gameplay so much that it just seems odd? And yes, that wasn't a cut. The tutorial level actually ends like that without any outro or anything. One thing I want to appreciate are the SFM cutscenes. They are very well animated. They have great direction, they have great cinematography, and the animators did a really good job on this. But my concern is, why would you even add cutscenes? Again, like I said earlier, with adding prone, parkour, and ADS, this is again deviating from the original source material. If this is supposed to give us a backstory to Mitchell's past, it's not really needed because think about it. Gordon doesn't have a backstory, Barney doesn't have a backstory, Adrian does not have a backstory. We only know about these characters only from what they encounter in their own games. What little we know about these earlier protagonists is only spoken by the other NPCs, and again, that is very minimal. There is no backstory to any of the Half-Life protagonists. But this shot right here, this was amazing. This is the encapsulation of what Black Mesa was like for the Marines. And this shot here is alluding to a plot point that gets revealed at the very last level. Like, we don't know what this shot means. And the whole game is filled with these cutscenes. Again, it's really deviating from what the original games were meant to be. They were meant to make the player experience the whole story without ever taking away the control. But these cutscenes just do that. So for the sake of this video, we'll act like cutscenes are okay for Half-Life games or spin-offs. And I like the way how Birkin decided to plant his name like created and directed by Birkin Dennis Yaron. I mean, Hideo Kojima does that, and you're not Hideo Kojima, Birkin, you're not! God damn it! So the prologue starts off from Black Mesa, and it actually looks pretty good. I mean, it's not that badly designed. The texture use, the props, the lighting, I mean, it all looks really, really good. And to be honest, this is one of the rare moments you'll actually hear me say that. Similar to how I mentioned the varying quality of the 3D models, that's the same for the maps. Some look very good, and some look like they weren't even finished but put into the game. One thing I wish for is that Black Mesa should have been more featured in the game. Like, we should have seen more of this. We should have seen how we get into the facility, what happens there, and how we get out or try to get out. But that's far from what happens in the game, because the story is very badly paced. You have half the time, you have no idea what's going on. So you're just left there, sitting and wondering, stitching together the story pieces and trying to make sense of it. So we make our way to this big ass room where we find a bunch of dead bodies of HECU soldiers, and what irks me is that they don't look anything like the actual HECU soldiers. Like, no effort was made to make them resemble the original HECU soldiers. They have their own uniform. Another thing to mention is the atrociously exaggerated head bob. As soon as you start sprinting, you start facing downwards, and it's so nauseous inducing. I mean, why? I mean, yeah, it looks cool, but it doesn't add anything to the gameplay apart from just looking cool. Thankfully, you do have the option to turn it off. God bless. Anyway, as soon as we approach this door, a cutscene happens and a guy in a HEV suit attacks us. Now keep in mind, this is the point where our protagonist, Mitchell, decides that this is Gordon Freeman and I'm going to hunt him down. That begs the question, how did Mitchell know this is Gordon Freeman? You can make up the point that, well, probably he's been briefed and his superiors told him that go kill a dude in a HEV suit, his name is Gordon. But none of that is explained. All we know is that a dude in a HEV suit crowbarred us in the face, and that's it. It would have been cool to just have one line at the beginning of this chapter that says, "Psst, come in, Mitchell. Yeah, we need you to kill Gordon Freeman. He's wearing a red, orange HEV suit, and he's nearby your location." But no, this dude comes out of nowhere and he just smacks us in the face, and Mitchell automatically thinks, yeah, that's Gordon Freeman, or already knows that's Gordon Freeman. And the actual plot twist at the end of the game, that's just as stupid as this whole scenario. This is how it feels to play Highway 17. Act 1 starts off from the hospital. Supposedly, G-Man saved us in Black Mesa, and now we're being given a new life, I guess. So, G-Man, his voice actor actually did a pretty good job, apart from saying Black Mesa. But yeah, his voice acting is pretty decent for the most part. But the dialogues that G-Man says are just weird. So, in Half-Life 2 or Half-Life 1, G-Man is more ominous, more odd or strange. He's not sinister, he's not condescending like he feels in this game. And in this starting dialogue, everything that G-Man says, you straight up feel that this is something that G-Man would never say in a retail or actually in a well-written game. So thanks, Birkin. Thanks for ruining G-Man.
Well, you see, Mr. Mitchell, we cannot let you kill Dr. Freeman yet. They authorized me to offer you a deal. You will be rewarded.
So basically, G-Man offers us power, authority, and time in exchange for us killing Gordon Freeman, but later on, or not yet, or something? I don't know. So the rest of the hospital section establishes nothing in terms of the story or gameplay, as a matter of fact. There's the infamous red jumpsuit guy stealing the medkit and dying minutes later. And once you do pick up the medkit, it seems like it's the same effect you get when you get into the HEV suit. Now you can sprint and all that stuff. Another thing I noticed that the map transitions are really weird. Like, one map would play out for 30 seconds and then it'll load a new section. And none of the other Source games I ever played throughout my life have ever taken this long to load up a map. Usually it's just 30 seconds, 40 seconds at max, but this takes up to like 2 to 3 minutes. So in usual FPS games or even in Half-Life, there's always a very subtle hint about where you have to go. But throughout Hunt Down the Freeman, there is zero context, zero hints, nothing at all that lets the player know where you have to go. And I don't know what they did with the crouching and the proning, but you can't crouch under things that you usually can in Half-Life 2. Instead, you have to use the prone, which again only comes up 2 to 3 times throughout the whole game. And I think 2 of those 3 times are in this map alone. I like this area though. The skybox, the moon, the lighting. It gave off heavy Left 4 Dead vibes. So we run around the corner and a cutscene plays. So we meet Nick here. He's one of the secondary characters who stays with us throughout the whole game. He tells us about what's going on and what's wrong and what we have to do. He also tells us about going to Brandon Street and getting into the metro and meeting up with Colonel Q. I guess that's our next objective. So now we're in Albuquerque, New Mexico. The 7-hour war is happening, and I think that's a really good concept to be used in a Half-Life fan game. The 7-hour war isn't that much talked about or shown in any of the retail games, and I guess it was a good concept to be used in this game, but the way it is used is just kind of okay at most. I mean, I like these street levels, the way they look, how the war is happening, the portal in the sky, the elite synths attacking the soldiers. And that's another thing, they used some beta concepts in this game. As far as I can remember, there's only the elite synths who were cut from the game, and there's mention of the cremators as well. Also, this gate was not supposed to open like that. Usually you have to go in here, get the knife, and then open the gate. And I don't know, why would you use this sort of deviation in your map design? I mean, wouldn't it be better if just during that cutscene, Nick would have went, "Hey, take this knife, you'll need it later. Also, you're fucking ugly as hell, bro." But instead it's just extra padding, just to get a melee weapon to open a gate. Next up, we come across a bunch of soldiers fighting off the synths, and this place or this section holds no value at all. For a first-time player, you'll look at both ends of the street and you'll see that both of them are closed off, so the first instinct would be to, okay, guess I also gotta fight these aliens, but that's not what you're supposed to do. Rather, you have to wait for this gunship to drop on top of these fences and open up a way for you. I mean, why put in this delay? Just have it happen as soon as you arrive to this place. And get used to seeing a black screen whenever the game's loading the next map. I don't know why it does that, but it does. And speaking of the elite synths, they actually do look pretty good. They're not one-to-one with the concept art. They don't exactly look like that, but they resemble the concept art at least. But another problem comes up is that it's just this soldier type or this enemy type. I guess there's also hunters, but there was a lot of cut concept. You could have used 2 or 3 more, at least 1 more enemy type to add in some sort of variety. All this feels like is you're just fighting cannon fodder. So we get a radio transmission from an unknown person who's in the hotel building right in front of us. Now, as far as I can remember, we were going to Brandon Street, into the metro, but the game doesn't tell us, but now we're going into the hotel? Just to see who this unknown person is? None of that is clarified. Why are we going into the hotel, or where even is Brandon Street? And do you notice how I'm just skipping past all these enemies? Yeah, keep that in mind, that's gonna happen a lot. So now we're in the lobby of the hotel. Everything looks good. Pretty nice looking textures, lighting, really heavy Left 4 Dead vibes in here. What we have to do is press this button for the lift to arrive, and that initiates a wave defense sort of section, which is the most laziest type of game design ever. A really good alternative would have been to just, I don't know, have the player go into the basement and turn on the power so we can go to whichever floor we want to go to. And this section also spams fast zombies from all directions. I don't know why they didn't use the normal zombies or any of the other zombie types they actually made for the game. What you usually do is you combine a bunch of different enemy types, so that's actually challenging. If you spam the same type of enemy again and again, it just becomes redundant and boring. So once the lift actually arrives, you get into it, and I noticed how weird the textures are. I mean, why are they so high quality? And the floor has 4 different textures on it? I mean, okay. So this whole area is a big missed opportunity, right? So this area is covered in darkness, and we equip the night vision goggles, turn it on, so we can navigate through the darkness. But in all honesty, you can really just run past all of the enemies they put in here, and that's it. There's no challenge here. The bare minimum they could have done is just add in elite synths, right? But these zombies are no challenge at all. They're so slow, I can just sprint past them. If they had a fast moving enemy type, that would have proved to be a big challenge, fighting in the dark. But yeah, I just ran past all of this and this whole area just got skipped. Next up, we meet up with Adam. He's the other secondary character that stays with us throughout the whole game. In summary, this whole cutscene is just basically Adam saying that he knows a shortcut to Brandon Street and he can help us get there, and he'll be covering us with his sniper rifle. And once again, I really gotta commend the animators in these cutscenes. They did a great job in animating and directing all of this. I know you put your name as the director in Birkin, but I know you didn't direct these cutscenes. Unfortunately, that's all these cutscenes are good for. The dialogues, the lines, they are just unnecessary. Too long. These cutscenes go on for far too long than they should. Then they show us this timer, which they don't really explain what it is about, but I guess it's indicating the 7-hour war, or how long it's been going on for, and now we're in the tunnels. That's another sin in the Half-Life game design book. Do you know, in Half-Life 1, Half-Life 2, Blue Shift, Opposing Force, Episode 1, Episode 2, there are no jump shifts. Like, there's no jumps in the story. Everything is experienced from start to finish in one go. The only cut I can think of in Half-Life 1 is when we get knocked out by the soldiers, and in Half-Life 2, it's when we get into the Nova Prospect teleporter and time shifts 2 weeks into the future. A big principle of all the Half-Life games has always been to have the story experienced in one go, from start to finish without any cuts, or at best, just one cut. But this game does these cuts a lot between levels, between the chapters, the acts, and it's just bad pacing. Also, why am I running away from a gunship on foot? I mean, we're in a canal. It's a wide canal. There's a lot of water. You know, this could have been very nice for a vehicle section. Oh, but there's no airboat in this game. Okay. Next up, we end up in this arena. 4 hunters show up on 4 of the platforms, and they have very nicely placed explosive barrels right next to them, so they are easy pickings. Next, we get shelled with these headcrab canisters. Also, Adam's here, covering us with his sniper. Well, that's good, but let me show you something. So this is supposed to be a big fight, right? Where we have to kill like 100 headcrabs. Let me show you something. The fight's not even necessary. You can just skip it. So we end up in this dark and gritty part of the city. I kinda dig the atmosphere here, not gonna lie. It's almost pretty good. We see a bunch of soldiers fighting these elite synths, and there's a machine gun mount. So you know what to do, right? Pick up the machine gun and start firing. But hey, what do you know? This is not even a necessary fight. You can just skip it. This is not good game design. If you want the player to encounter a bunch of enemies and fight them, make sure the player isn't able to skip it. Or if you wanted the player to skip a fight or encounter, don't place a mounted machine gun which tells you, hey, shoot at these fuckers. So once you're far into the game, you reach this point. And you must be wondering, wait, where do I go now? This is a dead end. And then you remember, oh, this game has parkour. And you know, this area would have been a great arena to fight a Strider, right? Just equip you with the RPG and have at it, right? I mean, the Strider even destroys that thing that you were standing on, but no, you're not supposed to fight the Strider. You're just supposed to run away from it. Another big missed opportunity. And there's these mysterious people down here. I don't know who these people are. Cause it goes into loading, the next level loads up and they're all gone. I don't know where they went. Alright, so this is a parking lot, right? There's a bunch of manhacks, and then there's elite synths who start attacking you. I mean, okay, I can criticize this area for spamming enemies again, but wait, let me show you something. You can run past all of them and skip this whole fight. Yay! It's like building a table made out of wood, but forgetting to put in the nails. Great job, Birkin. Great fucking job! Fuck! So we're in the metro station, or at least a part of the metro station, and the game hits us with the puzzle. I don't know if you can call it a puzzle. Also, what the hell is this design? Where's the middle of the railing? Anyway, we go to the bottom floor because everything is locked, right? And at first you think, okay, maybe I have to power up the lift, right? Because that's the thing that's on every floor and it's not working. At the bottom floor, you even see the wire switches and you're like, okay, I gotta find those. And then like, wait a minute. The lift's actually working. Okay? So we have to go back to the top floor and this lift just won't stop vibrating for some reason. Weird. Anyway, we get the wires, go back down, put them in, and this door unlocks. Okay? Do you ever fear you'll get home invaded?
Sup, fuckboy?
Or do you have problems getting your cat down from the roof? Meow. Introducing the American.
Well, howdy, y'all.
The American will use his right to bear arms to keep you secure.
Please leave the premise or I will shoot you again.
He'll even help you get your cat down from the roof.
Come here, little kitty.
And if you're low on money, he can help you with that too.
Empty the machine, you bastard.
The American. Get yours today.
Hey, that's me.
Next up is the most frustrating section I've ever seen in a video game. There's this huge hallway in the metro that's filled with these claymores. This part is straight up just guessing if it'll work or not. You just randomly jump place to place hoping that you can make it. If only there was some sort of indication in front of the claymores that would let you know how far their range is, then you could easily judge where to jump. That would be an actual, fun challenge, but no. So after clearing this section, you disable the claymore so Adam can join you. And then finally, we meet up with Colonel Q.
Well, look who we got here, boys. A Black Ops and a Marine. Hoorah. Let me introduce myself, son. I'm Colonel Q, but you can call me Sir.
I'm gonna be honest, Colonel Q is a great character. I liked meeting him, watching this cutscene and all. His voice actor did a great job. And speaking of voice acting, let's talk about that. I can't really say for sure that the voice acting is bad. It's not, honestly. Maybe it has some flaws, but it's actually pretty well done. And I got a lot of heat for saying this in my live stream, but Mitchell's voice actor did a pretty excellent job. Too bad his dialogues were crap, but yeah. And then there's the infamous fact about the YouTubers doing the voice acting, and to be honest, they did an average job. Of course, the voice acting isn't there main profession, so I don't know what people were expecting them to do, but still, it's nice hearing some of your favorite YouTubers on here. Not gonna lie, even if I knew this game would have turned out this bad, I would have loved to voice act it in this. So yeah, most of the voice acting is pretty good. The only minor gripe I have is with one character, and that's an off-screen character.
My fellow Americans, as your President and Commander-in-Chief, it is with a heavy heart that I'm informing you that we have made a strategic decision.
Keemstar is the last person I would expect to voice the president. And it's not that his voice acting is bad. First, the lines he says are average at best. It's not something heartfelt that a president would do while surrendering his country to an alien invasion. He's just trying to be heartfelt. He's trying to be emotional, but it doesn't quite hit the mark. On the flip side, this is a very good cutscene. It's a powerful emotion that they're displaying that their president has surrendered. Their country is surrendered. There's nothing left to do. They're on their own. And at moments like these, I could feel that this game could have been so much more. This game almost had the perfect setup for the perfect fan-made spin-off in the Half-Life universe, but it had the worst fucking execution you could ever think of. Cause I honestly think an anti-hero like Mitchell could definitely work in the Half-Life universe. A story of a rogue man going against the rebels and the Combines, acting on his own like a lone wolf, is definitely interesting. A man who's after Gordon Freeman and at the end realizes that Gordon Freeman had nothing to do with whatever happened to him. This could have been a very straightforward story about a man's skewed perspective of what's good and what's evil, what's right and what's wrong. But instead, all we got was bad gameplay, bad game design, a story that didn't make any sense, the worst writing I've ever heard in a game, and so much more packed into one product. Let's move on. So after that, we open up a gate so we can escape to the train. While trying to go up, the screen fades to black, so we're shifting to the next level, right? But again, it just teleports you a little ahead to where you're supposed to be. I was at the top of the stairs when the level started loading. I wasn't in the train platforms, but okay, whatever. Now you can run around this big ass map till the cows come home, but in reality all you have to do is fight off these synths for a while, and one of the doors on the leftmost train will open up. Again, with the timed set piece. Why? Why not just add in a simple objective like go to the control room and power on the train so you can escape? But no, you have to wait. Just wait, wait, and wait. And then you can proceed. Next up, we're at this train level, and it is one of the most basic looking maps I've ever seen. It's like baby's first Source Engine map. It's just a moving train on a track. There's literally nothing to the sides. It's just a big ass flatland. Not even any debris or any hills or trees or anything at all. Just barren wasteland, flatland. And we get this minigun out of nowhere. Some guy teleports dead and gives us this minigun. Okay. So of course, after waiting a while, the gunships start rolling in and all you have to do is shoot them down. You seemingly have infinite ammo and there's nothing much else to do. Just shoot down all the gunships, and the minigun's pretty OP. So you can take down a gunship in a few seconds, and that's pretty much it. That's all there is to this level. And this goes on for a solid 5 minutes before the level ends. Repetitive at its peak, honestly. God damn, Birkin. So we end up at this camp with a bunch of army soldiers, and they tell us about a ship out at California, and we have to get to that ship because the Combine can't get to the water for some reason, and Colonel Q died. I don't know when. They didn't show, but Colonel Q's dead, which is a shame. Then this escort mission starts where we have to guard this truck full of army soldiers. And this whole level, to be honest, people hate this level, but I really like it for some reason. I don't know, maybe it's the skybox, maybe it's the weird hills, the plateaus, but it's kind of nice, to be honest. But you know what isn't nice? The gameplay. Because the Humvee controls like trash, it uses the same scout car sounds, and you have to take down these hunters and the elite synths. There's nothing too special about this level, to be honest. It's just okay. This used to have a lot of issues before it got patched, or at least I think it got patched. But yeah, it's just a okay level. Then there's a sudden change in the surroundings. I thought we were in the desert. I thought we were in Nevada, or whatever the soldier told us. Now we're in the forest? The convoy gets ambushed by these canisters. Apparently no headcrabs come out of it for some reason. And Mitchell says that he'll look at the factory ahead while these guys deal with this, quote unquote this. There's nothing to deal with, but okay. So this whole section, this factory section, adds nothing to the story. It's just a bunch of filler. Inside the factory, we meet up with this guy, Joe, and he's asking us to save his friends who were trapped in the other room. So we do that by killing a bunch of zombies, going to this control room, and turning on the power, I guess.
This should do it.
But why are we even doing this? Who's Joe? Oh no. I mean, this level looks nice. The interiors are nicely designed, but why are we doing this? Why are we helping Joe and his friends? What does he add to the story? So next up is another frustrating section in the game. This whole map turns into an arena, and we have to kill these hunters. You get to the warehouse's rooftops and you get a sniper, and then 100 elite synths start spawning in. And at this moment, all I was thinking was, what am I supposed to do exactly? Am I supposed to kill all these enemies? Maybe then the level will end? So I did that. I killed all of them. Even almost ran out of ammo, but I did it. But the level would just not end. It wouldn't tell me what I have to do exactly. Till I realized that there's the truck with the soldiers in it, and I am supposed to open up this gate for them? Wait a minute, what? So, we have to lead the truck out of here, and once it reaches the end of this road, the level ends. Wait, hold on. I just restarted this level. I didn't do any of the fighting with the hunters or the elite synths. I went to the gate. I opened it up just in case, but I started sprinting for the end. Now keep in mind, I didn't do any of the fighting which I did earlier. And would you look at that? You can skip this level. Amazing. In this video, we'll be taking a look at the 2001 beta of Hunt Down the Freeman.
What is important is what I'm going to do. I fucking hate this world and all these human worms feasting on its carcass. I will put into the grave as many as I can. It's time for me to kill, and it's time for me to die.
Of the crater, like the prophets once said, and the ashes are all cold now, no more bullets, and the embers are dead. So after all those shenanigans at the factory, we now end up at the port. Again, no indication of how we got here. The level loads up and now we're at the port magically. And that point I made about not giving subtle hints about where to go next, this is very apparent here. Like, look at this. Where are you supposed to go? Every direction is open. You can run everywhere. But do you see that lighthouse at the back? The silhouette? We have to go over there. Yeah. And using hunters as a common enemy is just a ridiculous choice because in Half-Life, Gordon can sprint in all directions. Mitchell cannot. He can only sprint forward. So that makes it very, very difficult to dodge the hunters. Plus, it's an open arena. Sure, there's room to move, but there's no obstacle where you can trick the hunter to ram into. Anyway, we make our way to the lighthouse, go to the top, and boom, another level change. So now we're at the top and the lighthouse explodes and we have to jump in the water, or, well, I guess Mitchell automatically jumps in the water. What follows is one of the worst fucking designed levels I've ever played. You can roam around these containers for years and still not find the way. So if by chance you see this flare, that's where you're supposed to go. And even then you can get lost, but you have to go inside this place. And this is a level change? Why? And it doesn't even get better afterwards. There's a gunship on your ass and you have no way to fight back. You have no RPGs. This game doesn't have an RPG or a rocket launcher. So you have to dodge the gunship's bullets and find a way to the ship, wherever that is. Because there's a lot of ships and any one of them could be the ship you're looking for. And the thing with open world gameplay, and open world I say that with a very big quote unquote, is that you need to have the assisting elements with it. For example, a minimap, a radar, a compass, anything that gives you a sense of direction of where you're heading. But let's say you don't want that. You don't want a minimap or a radar or a compass. Well, at least let the game tell you where you're actually supposed to go. In words, just tell the player in words like, hey, this is where you have to go, fuckface. So after so much trial and error, I finally figured out where to go. But this gunship that's constantly on me doesn't let me do that. And when I did try to jump, the fall damage killed me. And when you do land on it, it gives you damage. Anyway, I made it to the ship in a cutscene. So then the game introduces Captain Roosevelt, the captain of the ship. He asks who's in charge and then talks about God and Mitchell's name and ranks and I don't know. And then he tells them that all his men are under his command now. And Nick's all like, no, don't do that. Whoever's on top of his command dies. And he's like, nah, it's fine, buddy. This is a bit of foreshadowing. Hang on. So next up is a wave defense section. All you have to do is just stand here and defend yourself against manhacks of all things and Vortigons? Wait, why are Vortigons fighting us? Well, I guess since it's the start of the 7-hour war and the Vortigons... Wait, but the Vortigons were freed in the end of Half-Life 1. Why are they still fighting against human? Did the Combine enslave them or something? They weren't hostile in Half-Life 2. I don't know. But this section... yeah. Just a bunch of filler. Nothing but a shooting gallery. I mean, what is happening? Why are there exploding manhacks and Vortigons of all things attacking this ship? When did this assault happen? Why is it happening? But it's just there just for the sake of being there. Then I stood right at the border, contemplating it, thinking of ending it all. Why was I doing this? Why am I doing this? What's the point? does it even matter? But of course the game doesn't even let you commit suicide, so okay, guess we gotta carry on. So after way longer than it should have taken, the chapter ends. Then a cutscene happens where everybody's just looking at each other. They're like, oh shit, those were a lot of manhacks. And then an explosion happens, and Captain Roosevelt lands right at their feet, not anywhere else, not in the water, but right at their feet. And this is the same Captain Roosevelt who was told by Nick that Mitch is cursed, and if you keep him under your command, you'll die. And guess what? He died. But of course, the captain replies with, no, this is not a curse, I know what you did, referring to Mitchell's deal with G-Man and all that bullshit, but okay, as if I care. After this cutscene, I shit you not, there's a 3-year time jump and Mitchell just talks about it against a black screen. And that's it. 3 years just flew by.
It's been 3 years since the 7-Hour War. There are no more countries, only territories where they once were. All the governments having been replaced by one, the Combine. The alien Combine Empire had enslaved humanity.
He's just basically describing that the Combine took over everything and everywhere is suppression and there's, you know, the usual setting that we see in Half-Life 2. He's just saying it here. And now presenting Metal Gear Hunt Down the Gordon Man 2. So Act 2 starts off in the middle of nowhere in the snow. It's called New Alaska, or City 9, or whatever. And we fall into a dark hole. We're off to a great start. So you're equipped with a pistol and a machete, but there's no flashlight in all of this game. At first, the dim tunnels might seem like a good area to navigate through, but actually, it's pitch black. Where the hell am I supposed to go? I don't have a flashlight, no night vision goggles, so I had to turn on full bright. And this map is a maze. How am I supposed to navigate it in pitch black darkness? If it were a straight tunnel, that would have been fine to some extent, but this is a maze. But like most of the game, there's no relevance to the story here, no gameplay, just filler. But when we do come out of the tunnels, I'm not gonna lie, this looks beautiful. I love how this all looks. The icy tundra, the middle of nowhere, the snow, it's all so good. That little structure in the middle with the light on, it's so comfy and soothing. But here's a problem. It takes 1,000,000 years to get through this. And I noticed this area is pretty wide open, you know? Lot of room to navigate. Almost makes you think this would have been a nice place to have a vehicular section, you know? It would have been cool to go through this on a jet ski. So in this little structure we find ourselves a KR-98K sniper, which is kinda cool looking. And like I mentioned before, the weapon models and their animations and the sounds look so good. It's just so good. The weapon models and their animations are one of the rare things this game actually did right. Anyway, we're supposed to head to City 9 as Mitchell calls it, but it's actually a factory. Yeah, Mitchell probably didn't went to school as a kid, but yeah, we're heading to a factory. And this whole section with the icy landscapes, brings up a very good point. It looks great. It really does. At least to me, I love this. But it doesn't play great. It's just walking and walking and walking till you reach a sort of a stopping point where you have to do something. And yeah, antlions are here. You have limited ammo and antlions start showing up. It would have been cool if we had some sort of a submachine gun, or rather some bullets for our pistol, but nope. Using a machete is useless, to be honest. It feels so weak and I want to conserve my sniper ammo. I may need it later. Plot twist. You don't need to conserve the sniper ammo because you never get to use it later. So the first stopping point is this big ass wall in the middle of the snow, and what we have to do is open up the gate. To do that, we have to climb the structure on the right and open it up. After walking for what feels like a billion years, we finally get to the structure. So you might be wondering, I don't see a ladder. I don't see anything to go up with. Oh wait, yeah. We're gonna use parkour. For the second time in the entire game. So my game started to crash here a lot. I don't know why. Maybe it's something with the parkour. But whenever I try to get off this pipe or get onto the other one, the game just crashes. So I just no-clipped on top of the structure. So now the gate is open, and guess what? Guess what happens next? More walking! This is amazing gameplay. Next I walked for what seemed like 2 billion years. And then I came across this wall, but I had to go the opposite direction. And in this section comes up another big missed opportunity. So this is a great setup, right? There's a sniper after us, there's some cover. The only problem is that I can't shoot him back. What's the point of this thing then? You know what would have been cool if we would have had like a enemy at the gate style battle between the snipers. But no, you can't just kill him, because if you remember in Half-Life 2, you can only use explosives like grenades or RPGs to kill these guys. The bullets don't work. So yeah, have fun dodging their bullets. A one-on-one sniper battle would have been really cool, but then they start adding in more snipers. So there's 1, 2, 3, 4 snipers shooting at you simultaneously while you're running in zigzags trying to avoid them. I mean, if you try to do it, you can dodge the bullets. It's not that difficult, but by the end you're just frustrated and irritated for this section to end already. Also, we get to use the parkour again and watch a stalker get smashed to death. Nice! Now, I want you to imagine, use all your brain power and just imagine what happens next. That's right, more walking! Please shoot me. And now the snipers are back with antlions. That's just great. I was tired of this bullshit at this point, so I turned on God mode. And turns out the snipers aren't actually snipers, they're just these little robots or something, these sentries. And yeah, you can't kill them. After a bunch of snipers, antlions, and a lot of walking, we finally get to this combine base in the underground areas. And here we finally get to use a new weapon, the AR-2. Not a whole lot happens here, apart from just you and the combines fighting each other. You just navigate to the next area to proceed further. I do like the design of this. It's nice looking, really suits the combine aesthetics. So using the elevators, we get back up to ground level, and they successfully managed to do something even worse than the sniper section, believe it or not. Because now, instead of snipers, it's a non-dodgeable orbital ray or something that just strikes you down as soon as they spot you. I mean, I did my best to dodge these, but it's just frustrating. Because you can never accurately guess where they're looking. Even though if they're pointing in the wrong direction, they'll still be able to spot you and take you down. So of course I used God mode and no clip to get past all that and approach the factory, or City 9 as Big Mitch called it. So, okay, let's take a stop here and talk a bit. Where do you think we're supposed to go? There's a door on the left, a door in the center, and some windows on the right. So, natural instinct would tell you that maybe it's the door in the center, but let's try out the door on the left. You never know with this game. Surprise, it's locked. Well, sure, then the center door is open, right? That's the way we're supposed to go. Nope. I even tried going into that sewerage tunnel, pressing E on it, but nothing happened. So I kept looking for where I'm supposed to go. I thought maybe I'm supposed to break in through the windows using these slopes, but nope, that's not what you're supposed to do. So I kept looking. And what you're actually supposed to do is climb the rightmost part of this building that's hidden behind that snowy hill. Yeah. Perfect. Great, this is perfect. Using the amazing parkour that this game has, we get on top of the roof, and then you think, okay, maybe I'm supposed to run past this laser thing and drop in from the window, from the roof, but nope, get zapped. I ran all over the place trying to dodge that laser and trying to figure out where I'm supposed to go, but there was an invisible wall here, so that wasn't the way, obviously. Moving around randomly, I fell into a hole, and that's when I realized, wait, is this where I'm supposed to go? You might not see it right now, but it's literally there, but you can't see it, of course, because it's too fucking dark. So a cutscene plays and we meet Boris. He tells us that this is not a weapons factory like Mitch had thought of, but this is actually a cremator factory. So Mitch decides that he's gonna just burn down the whole factory, and the kids working as slaves there, he's gonna take all the kids, take them back to the ship and raise them all as soldiers. Oh, Mitch, you silly goose. And Boris's voice acting is, again, good. I'm glad they didn't do the heavy, stereotypical Russian or, Slavic accent, but rather went with something that sounds kind of genuine, in a way.
Mister, do you have any idea what we produce in this factory?
Not weapons?
Not weapons.
So we murder all the Combine in the factory in typical Big Mitch fashion, and as we progress through this whole factory, things start to blow up automatically, which is okay, cool. And this is a good section in a way, like it's not too frustrating or irritating. There are a lot of Combines to shoot, like it's genuinely fun just taking cover or straight up one-shotting all the Combine with the sniper. And this section basically ends as soon as you kill all the Combine soldiers in the area. Before the next level starts, 20 years have passed. But nowhere does Big Mitch tells us like he did at the end of Act 1, where he commentated everything that's happening, how 3 years have passed by. This time he didn't even bother. So we end up back on the ship, and again, it's 20 years later now. All the kids we took from the factory have now grown up and are now part of our army, which is cool. But it's a really bizarre concept. So here you'll probably think I'm supposed to get in the helicopter and the next level will start, but no, that's not it. In typical Hunt Down the Freeman fashion, you're not told what's supposed to happen, you're supposed to find it. What you're actually supposed to do is go down into the lower levels of the ship and meet up with Nick and Adam. This whole cutscene is basically Adam showing Mitchell a crowbar, and Mitchell gets triggered by it, I don't know why, because Joe also had a crowbar and Mitchell didn't get triggered then. I mean, what's wrong? Is this the same crowbar that Gordon Freeman hit Mitchell with? Is this the crowbar from Black Mesa? I mean, how could that be possible? And even if that is possible, how do these guys know that it's the same crowbar? I don't know. Then G-Man shows up out of nowhere and he's like, I gave you time, money, power, authority, and everything. Now you gotta kill Gordon Freeman. He's in City 17. And Mitchell's like, no, I don't want to do that because it's all a curse and I want to give it all back. I don't want nothing to do with this. And G-Man's like, yeah, you don't have a choice, bro. You gotta do this or I'll clap your ass. So off to City 17 it is. So we head back to the upper levels of the boat and another cutscene happens with Nick. And Nick's ill. And I don't know why or what's the reason. He looks ill. He doesn't have any hair. I don't know what's wrong with him, but okay. And Nick's all like, don't do it, Mitchell, it's not good, it's not a good plan, you'll get us all killed and all that. And then he says, yeah, I'm gonna keep myself out of this, and, you know, just backs away. This whole boat section is just a big-ass compilation of cutscenes, and that's pretty much it. I mean, it's just a tool to keep the story going forward. And then another cutscene happens where Mitchell gives this big speech to his soldiers and he's like, we're going to City 17 and some of us are gonna get killed and stuff like that. I mean, it's just filler story, just trying to develop Mitchell's character, but it just misses the mark. So the next level doesn't actually start from City 17, it starts off from this little level where you have to jump on top of the train. I mean, you could have started off from here. I don't know what's the purpose of showing us jumping on top of the train. So this whole level, or this map, is taken right out of Half-Life 2. I mean, I'm not gonna call it stealing in a way, it's just lazy work, I guess. So one of the citizens is with us, I guess. He's part of our army or an undercover spy, I don't know. We interact with him, and the first time I was playing this, I was like confused. What is he going to do, right? And boy, was I in for a surprise.
Goodbye, old friend.
2233, can you confirm?
This caught me off guard. I was like, what the hell? How could you use a concept like this for the citizens or the rebels or whatever? But okay, it works, I guess. They wanted to divert the attention of the Combine. I guess they could have done it in another way, but they sacrificed a whole man to do it. We end up in the terminal area, which looks kind of off because some of the textures have been replaced and it's more brighter. And as soon as you step out of the terminal to go to the next map, it is very apparent that this part of City 17 was not made by Valve. It is much flatter, no more details like in the other map. So you wander aimlessly, trying to look for a way, trying to find out where to go, and that's when you realize you're supposed to get into this window, this building, through this window. Of course, using the excellent parkour system this game has. And as soon as you come out of this little alley, all of the Metro cops are now after you. And it's so stupid how they just realized that, oh, this is the guy we're supposed to capture, let's go after him. So this starts off a little running sequence or a parkour. I don't want to call it a parkour sequence, but basically where we run away from the Metro cops. And of course there's a level change smack dab in the middle of it. You know, some players might have difficulty trying to find their way across this whole sequence, but in my second playthrough it was kind of interesting. It was kind of exciting to do all this parkouring and jumping and evading. It was really good. And then there comes a point where the game actually wants you to get caught, but it doesn't let you know. I thought I was going to escape from these guys, but I was just running in loops, so I thought maybe I should just see what happens if I get caught. And turns out that's the way to proceed further. Once we get caught, we're brought to the administrator, or it seems like that we're gonna be talking to Dr. Wallace Breen, but turns out It's our old friend Boris. Basically, this whole conversation is Mitchell wants to surrender all his army and assets to the Combine so they can work together and capture Freeman. And Boris is like, okay, I'll talk it out with Dr. Wallace Breen and I'll get back to you. Problem is, you actually have to wait for him to come back. Like stand still in his room or wait in his room till he comes back. And it's a couple of minutes before he does. So once he's back, he tells us that it's a good plan and Breen is okay with it, and he also lets us know that his daughter, who we saw in a previous cutscene, is now grown up and is now part of the resistance as a spy. So she'll be helping us out once we get to her. He also lets us know that the Combine know where Gordon Freeman is, Black Mesa East. Now I'm gonna level with you. This Black Mesa East section, this is Hunt Down the Freeman at its best, right? Because it's such an awesome parallel to Half-Life 2, because remember in Half-Life 2 that we're training with the gravity gun and we start getting bombarded by the Combine? This is implying that when the Combine did reach Black Mesa East, Mitchell was part of that group. And this is what this game needed. This game needed more parallels like this. Show Mitchell going after Gordon Freeman in the aftermath of whatever Gordon Freeman did in the original game. Keeping aside all those characters, all those stories, all those everything, this is the closest Hunt Down the Freeman gets to Half-Life 2 or Gordon Freeman. But the worst part is, this is the last time this game shines. After this, it's extremely downhill. And the original areas they did for Black Mesa East actually look pretty good. They're well designed, they look great, and they're very consistent, almost consistent with the original game's theme. And here we come face to face again with the Vortigaunts, and now it does make sense because now the Vortigaunts are on the side of Gordon Freeman and the rebels. One thing that put me off was the rebel player model. Again, they use some sort of asset bot models for this game and they just seem off. Like, why not use the original game's models? They actually do show up later on, but why not use them here as well? And while I was going through this, through the corridors, the hallways, the kitchens, the rooms, it was actually fun and enjoyable. It was very well balanced, and for the first time I felt like I was playing a proper first-person shooter. But again, this would be the last time I would have this much fun in Hunt Down the Freeman. After clearing out the whole facility, we get on this lift and make our way to ground level. Now, we get the double-barrel shotgun here, which is cool, but the game doesn't actually let us leave the area. If I try to go out the door, I just can't. So what I actually have to do is go back to the table and grab the tape and the flashlight so I can attach it to the shotgun. Huh. What follows after is a whole lot of nothingness, to be honest. It tries to be a Left 4 Dead map, but it just fails at that. It's trying to be open world, but at most it's just directionless gameplay with zombies and fast zombies. There's no set path that you know you can take, rather you have to find your way. But honestly, it's not that bad. It might be confusing for some players, but it's not fun. While I didn't like the gameplay, I did enjoy the atmosphere this section gave off. It was pretty cool. We also hear a woman commit suicide off screen, which is kinda dark if you ask me. Then we find our way to this house, and what we have to do is clear out this house and get out the back door, or the back window in this case. So if you didn't get it so far, this is trying to be the Ravenholm chapter of Hunt Down the Freeman. It's trying to be the equivalent of that. But to be honest, it's not doing a good job. It's just copying Left 4 Dead more than Half-Life 2. So once we do get out of the house, we cross this bridge to get to the other side, and there's a plot twist waiting for us. Not a plot twist, I guess, more of a surprise. That's right, we're now in Ravenholm. But unfortunately, this section is only like 30 seconds long if you skip past it. This also might imply that Father Gregory actually survived, since there's a hidden path down here, but in the original game he runs off to the side, not into the mausoleum, so I don't know. But yeah, we go into the underground areas and find a secret button on the wall and go up. We end up in a different part of Ravenholm, or at least I think it's Ravenholm, but it doesn't actually resemble Ravenholm in any way. And our comrades are here for some reason. I don't know how they got there, but they are there. So we fight the rebels and move forward. And again, this is a really short section. Only if you stop to see the map around you, the locations around you, will you spend more time here. But if you run past everything, it just takes 30 seconds or 1 minute. And oh boy, it's time for episode 2 styled caves. Great. There's nothing too special about these. We do get to see Gordon driving the scout car, so I'm guessing we're underneath the highway areas, which is kind of a cool touch. I like that. The cave areas themselves aren't that special, to be honest. They're just there. Visually, they don't look as good as episode 2's cave, but it's good. And oh, here's another one of my favorites examples to show. So we're about to go into a boss fight, right? Nope, we're skipping it. Yeah, we can skip a boss fight. Pretty cool. Pretty cool. Next up, we come across this huge area, which I kinda liked. But again, I don't have much else to say about the caves. It was pretty average at best. Then coming out of the caves, we come across this very nice looking area actually. I really like the atmosphere here. Most of it is just parkour related, platforming, and that's fine. It was okay. Then we end up in a garage of some house, and going outside immediately reminded me of episode 2, or a map that's deeply inspired by episode 2. Again, not a lot of people will agree, but I actually really like the overall vibe this area gives. I like it. I always like seeing forests or nature in Source Engine games. Now we're supposed to drive this bike, but unfortunately that bike absolutely handles like trash. There is zero feedback when you turn left or right. It just feels like it's stuck going in a straight path. And this whole map feels like something that someone would make if they never played Half-Life 2 or Episode 2's vehicle sections. Straight up. Like, the vehicle sections are supposed to be this seamless experience where you go from point A to point B without any problems or, confusion about where to go next. But here, that's very apparent that the path is not laid out in front of you. You're supposed to find it. And also my bike got stuck here. Why would you put in a place in your map where a vehicle could get stuck and not get out of it? Why? But fortunately, I was actually supposed to ditch the bike here anyway, so yeah. So we continue on foot fighting all these rebels and just making our way to the next area. And story-wise, I had no idea where I was going. Because if you remember, we were going into Black Mesa East to catch Gordon. After that, nobody told us where he went. We didn't see him go anywhere. But now we're just going without a clue. At least Mitchell is going without a clue. We come across this big-ass house, which was actually kind of a fun section to go through. The house itself, though, it looks like something out of a Gold Source mod or game. Going from room to room and floor to floor, it was actually pretty fun to fight the rebels here. But anyway, we steal a bike from this house and make our way to the next place. Bizarrely, the next level starts us off the bike, on foot, and we have to get on the bike again. Now, this level, I'm gonna tell you right from the get-go, has nothing in it. It only has us on an empty road, stretch of road in the middle of the night, and there's some sad music playing, some emotional music playing. Now, I get what Mr. Big Burko was trying to do here. You know, that he was trying to show this moment of loneliness with Mitchell, this moment of where he has nobody with him and he's on this unknown road to parts unknown, and he just doesn't know where he's going. But this whole concept, it could have been 10 or 20 times better had they just copied Highway 17. I mean, think about it. Isn't Highway 17 the same thing? Gordon on an empty stretch of road, there's nobody with him, he's just going on and on. And that's what I think they were trying to do here, but failed at it. But the level's just too short and there's nothing to do in it. So the level changes again, and now everything's shiny for some reason. I guess the cube maps or the environment cube maps were not working for this one, so I just turned off matte specular. So going around this corner gives us a big reveal. Actually it doesn't, because we don't know what this place is. This is supposed to be Nova Prospect. Yeah, it could have been much of a bigger, cooler reveal had we known that we were going to Nova Prospect and seeing this big ass building in front of us. And not gonna lie, this Nova Prospect is really different looking. I don't remember Half-Life 2's Nova Prospect being like this. Of course we head inside and again, level change. And these Nova Prospect levels are the biggest waste of time. I mean, you designed all of this, you made all of these levels, but there's nothing to do in them. So, okay, the Combine are on our side, right? So they won't attack us here. But maybe you could have used the rebels in some way. Maybe have them follow you and attack from behind, ambush you from behind. Or something to do here. But no. Like the snow levels, all you do is walk, and walk till you reach another empty Nova Prospect. I mean, what's the point? And looking at the design of this level, this map, it doesn't make any sense. If you look at it from a in-universe perspective, there's no doors, there's no corridors, there's no place at all where you can go into, or what do the Combine even do in this part of Nova Prospect? There's only one entrance and one exit. There's this huge hallway beneath us, but there's no entrance to that? How do people get there? So many questions, so little answers. You are an enigma, Birkin. So the level changes and we go into a basement, and again, more walking until we reach the familiar Nova Prospect teleporter room. And it sort of implies that Gordon and Alex were just here, but we missed them. So do you know what we do? We run back. But this time around, this door opens up, so we go into it. Then we go into a vent, fall down into the sewers, the tunnels, and what seems like the open ocean, that's where we're heading? Okay. Oh, a cutscene. Okay, never mind. We weren't heading into the ocean. We got captured, guys. Didn't you see the rebels that caught us? Oh, wait, you didn't, because there weren't any. So we meet Sasha here, and she tells us to meet her in the monitor room. She'll let us out, and we'll have to sneak past the guards to get to her. Okay. Now, sneaking levels in Source games or Gold Source or Half-Life mods are a big no-no in my book. It's just not doable because the engine is just not made to do that. However, this prison area is very well designed. I mean, that lightning strike, that flash, it's such a good mood, such a good vibe. It's very well designed. I like that, the visual part. And at the start, I was actually succeeding in going stealthily past the guards, but later on, They just saw me, so I just ran for it. So we go through this vent and meet up with Sasha. And all Sasha talks about is how she remembers Mitch and what happened at the factory. I mean, she only talks about the things that doesn't help Mitch in his quest to find Gordon. And she also mentions the G-Man and how the G-Man made a deal with Boris to let them live. And when she's about to explain further, this happens.
Remember the deal. He had to help.
Mitchell, move! Mitchell!
Mitchell? Run!
How the hell did Nick get here? How did he know that we were at Nova Prospect, and why didn't he break us out of prison if he knew we were in here? So this whole section is just us and Nick running away from the rebels, and we go down this corridor, and another cutscene happens. Okay, I'm gonna pause it right here because I don't want to waste your time with these cutscenes. There's two cutscenes. First with Nick. Nick tells us that he's waiting on the other end, and this is all part of the deal, which implies that G-Man actually made a deal with Nick as well. I mean, what the hell is up with G-Man? Why is he making deals with everyone? So in the second cutscene with G-Man, he just says that he no longer needs Mitchell's services, and he's done for. Now the Combine will be after Mitch because Nick murdered Sasha, and Mitch has been framed for her murder. So the Combine's going after Mitch. They're not gonna look for, or at least half the Combine force is gonna look for Mitch. It's so stupid. Basically saying that now the Combine's coming after you, so they won't go after Gordon, and that's what we wanted, G-Man and his employers. And he also reveals that it was Nick in Black Mesa who actually fucked up his face, which is so weird. Like, none of this has any solid foundation. Like, this whole story has no solid foundation. Why would you do that to Mitch in Black Mesa? Was he the quote-unquote chosen one to get framed 20 years later just so Gordon Freeman can take down the Combine Citadel or something? It's just so vague, ambiguous, and it doesn't make any sense. When you try to connect the dots, turns out there aren't any dots to connect. It's all random. And at the end of this cutscene, Mitch says, okay, so what if I survive? Like, what if he survives the Combine's onslaught now that they're after him? And G-Man says nothing. He just smiles at him. And Mitch also smiles a little. I don't know, this is fucking weird. So now we're outside the Nova Prospect facility, and to be honest, I don't know where I'm heading, but let's just move forward. And this map, this level, it's kind of nice. It's calm, it's soothing. It's like the calm before the storm, But I don't know if Birkin was smart enough to actually implement that sort of idea into a game. But anyway, we move past all this and suddenly the level changes, and it's a very, very drastic change in visual appearance. I mean, this is really a polar opposite of what we were just looking at earlier. How did we get here? But honestly, I really like this area or this last level. Like the clouds, the rain, it's all dark and gritty. But wasn't it just daytime? Like a few seconds ago? Also, there's a twist you only get if you kill yourself, or you die. So we get this cutscene, and I guess it's Mitchell in the afterlife, and he looks at a guy, and he goes,
Adrian?
So, what if that's Adrian? What does that have to do with any of this? Is that the only thing that connects this game to opposing force? I mean, is that the only connection you want to make and call it a successor to opposing force? Why? What what importance does Adrian Shepard have in this whole story? He is not mentioned a single time. He is only shown in the intro video, and even then we don't know that it's Adrian Shepard. What does Mitchell and Adrian being brothers have to do with anything? Why include that story point? God damn it, Birkin. God damn it, you're making me confused. So we get into this combine structure, take out the soldiers, we radio Nick and tell him that Adam is a traitor and we need Nick to pick us up so we can get back to the ship, escape from this place. Here's the kicker. Nick says it's gonna take him a while to get there, and guess how many minutes it's gonna take him? 15 minutes. Not like 15 minutes in game, in real life. And 15 minutes in this game feels like 1500 years. So while I don't like this concept of waiting 15 whole minutes for the level to end, I kind of like the concept of this last stand, you know, like this is Big Mitch's last stand. But with such a garbled up story, you know, this game has such a confusing story. There's not much to associate with Big Mitch, you know, like he is not a character who has been through tragedy or suffering or, you know, hard times. He's just been all over the place. And that's why it's a little hard to associate him with a character who's giving his last stand, and it's hard to feel something for Big Mitch. But personally, while playing this, I sort of felt something for this character. Because this character could have been so much more had he been given the right story, the right game, the right gameplay. Had he had a good game designer. And as a closing remarks, I just want to say that this had so much potential and it just failed straight out of the gate. And it was doomed to fail from the start. But in all honesty, Hunt Down the Freeman will always be a part of Half-Life's legacy now. Love it or hate it, it's here to stay. And it's all thanks to Mr. Birkin. So once the timer runs out, the screen fades to black. It doesn't show Nick arriving at this point, but just screen turning black, that's it. And then the next cutscene starts and it's showing us landing on our ship. So in summary, this whole cutscene is basically Big Mitch surprising Adam by being alive and also chasing after him. And the most important line in all of this.
You fucked up my face.
And that's it. That's pretty much the ending of Hunt Down the Freeman. But there was this line as well.
Turn the ship. We're going to Borealis.
Alright, hold up. What? The Borealis? How does Big Mitch know about the Borealis? Does he have any idea what that is? And what is he gonna do if he does reach the Borealis? I mean, what? You know what? I actually want to see. I actually want to see a sequel to this game. I want to see what Mitch does when he reaches the Borealis. But honestly, jokes aside, that's never gonna be possible. I don't think this game's ever gonna get a sequel unless somebody just steps up and decides to make one. But I don't think Mr. Birkin's ever coming back to make a sequel for this. And yeah, that was Hunt Down the Freeman. Hope you enjoyed this video. I had a lot of fun making this. I had a lot of fun, and I went into deep depression while I was recording the footage and playing Hunt Down the Freeman. But I hope you enjoyed all that. And yeah, if you enjoyed the video, consider liking or subscribing, and I'll see you in the next one. I fly to you, face fucker. I'm still in a dream, face fucker. Someday you go through the rain. Someday you feed on a tree frog. This ordeal, the trial to survive. For the day we see new light, I give my life. Not for honor, but for you, face fucker. In my time, there will be no one else. Fuck. Crime is the way I fly to you, face fucker. I'm still in a dream, face fucker. I'm still in a dream, face fucker.